Welcome, everybody, back to Season 2, Episode 2 of the Season 2 of the Bench Seat Podcast. George, Niang on our remote side over here. How are you doing over there, George?
I'm doing great. I'm in the Black Valve Coliseum. You know, Kevin's day-to-day with his partially torn ACL and his cane, so we had to do this one virtually. But I'm glad we got to sit down and chop up, you know, some good stuff that's happened in the community these last couple days.
And speaking of good stuff, I got a big announcement for the Bench Seat. The Bench Seat has its first sponsor, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, let's clap it up for the Bench Seat Podcast. Our first sponsor,
we did it.
The great folks over at MyBookie. Let me tell you a little something about the guys at MyBookie. Great dudes. Not like the other sports book people that kind of swing their weight around. That's not what MyBookie is about. We're pumped to have this partnership. It's going to be a long-lasting partnership. And I don't know if you know this, George, but I have my own promo code. Do you know what that means?
Let's go. You made it.
I made it. I have a promo code. It's Grill Guy.
Maybe he'll stop talking about high school sports.
So if you are a new customer, if you're not signed up to MyBookie, there's a great promotion going on. It's the 12 days of Christmas. It started on December 19th. What's today? The 22nd. So you got a while to go. It's 12 full days. You go on, you use my promo code Grill Guy. You're going to get a 50% match on your deposit. So say, George, you're a big – well, you're not, but let's say you were a bettor and you deposited $1,000. MyBookie is going to give you $500 in free bets right off the rip. Just boom, because that's what MyBookie is all about. It's a 12 days of Christmas. There's risk-free Thursdays. There's super boosts, free bets. There's weekly casino giveaways. It's not just a sports book. It's also a casino. Go to MyBookie, sign up, use promo code Grill Guy. Are we in business right now, George?
I love it. We're dialed. We're dialed. We're really locked in. I love this.
Okay, so
I love this. Shout out to MyBookie.
Shout out to MyBookie. We got that out of the way. We just paid the bills. And now, speaking of locked in, let's talk about your one, your only, the Cleveland Cavaliers have lost one game in the month of December. And that was last time we were in Miami. You lost a game in Miami, a hard-fought game. And you have dominated some teams. Dominated the Sixers. Dominated the Bucks. Speak to it. How's it been this month of December? A cold month, but you guys are red hot.
Yeah, no, it's been good. Needless to say, you know, the one game we did lose was down in the 305. So
Mr.
there
Worldwide.
was more than there's more than a couple reasons for that.
I'm sure.
No, but you know, I think you know, the Heat were kind of clicking on all cylinders down there. That was their third game they had won in a row, and I think for us is we've been really good at adapting once we lose a game. Like, okay, these are the reasons why we lost. You know, how can we become better? How can we do things differently so that we don't fall in the same position? And I think Kenny is like a big advocate of finding solutions, not like, hey, you guys were really bad at this. No, how can we get better at this? And whenever you're, you know, kind of solution-based rather than being a problem announcer, I think it pans out pretty well for us. You know, obviously we played the Bucks without Dame, the Sixers without Joel. So I don't think anybody's sitting here high and mighty banging their chest. We want to continue to play teams that are at full strength, and obviously if they're not full strength, we're still going to compete at a high level. But, you know, we still want to continue and grow and continue to get better and see where we're at on a night-in, night-out basis.
It seems like you guys kind of like one of the things they say, especially on the TV a lot, and like, you know, announcers like to have their like go-to sayings and their cheeseball sayings or whatever. But like you hear a lot of like a workman's approach to like a Tuesday night game, right? And it's like you guys, whether people are out or not, you guys kind of seem to just have this like workman's approach to just like you get shit done. Like you don't the effort is always high. You know, in the game of basketball, there's always runs, so there's always going to be times where you're hitting shots and times where you're not. But the things that you can control seem to be controlled. Where does that come from? Is that in practice? Is that just like the identity of you guys being together for so long? Where is that like just consistency coming from, you think?
I just think we know what it is. Like, I think every guy knows that they can depend on the next person because they've seen every person play in major situations, whether it's through injuries or, guys sitting out on rest. So when we come in, nobody feels the pressure that they have to go do it on their own. They realize that, you can depend on the person next to you with all the depth that we do have. Obviously, our guy's going to have to sacrifice minutes, sacrifice shots, sacrifice, different things so that, we can collectively be good. Yes, and that's what you fight every single day. Like, how can I stop looking inward and being like, what about me? And looking more towards we. Because, the faster you can stop that, the easier it is to grow and be better and realize what you have and realizing that sacrificing is actually worth it because we're in like a world of instant gratification, right? And we're constantly receiving that because it's like, oh, we're sacrificing and, we've won 25 games so far. Okay, well, who's to say we sacrifice and go on a 2-game skid and, everyone's like, well, I don't want to sacrifice. So you have to constantly fight that. Obviously, I think the depth is a real thing, but I think we've also tapped into, like, I've talked about this before the last time, is like what Evan Mobley is doing, like people need to like sit here and witness like what he's capable of. Like he's a upcoming star. Like you look what he's doing, he can rebound, he can pass, he can shoot, he can facilitate. So we're not only using him on the defensive end, but he's facilitating our offense, being able to score on mismatches and facilitate, get guys involved, be a playmaker. And it's just untapped so much for us moving forward. And it's been phenomenal. And every guy has sacrificed and done what they had to do to kind of make it so we all can fit and be one team. So I think that's been a huge key for us. It's just the overall sacrifice and then obviously, tapping into Evan Mobley.
Dude, it is crazy to see. First off, that dunk that left-handed dunk
with
last
the left,
night
right?
Was first off, by the way, that was the only time I'm going to give you a little criticism. You don't get up out of the seat often. You'll be hyped, but you're hyped from the seat.
That got the jockey out of the saddle.
That got the big boy out of the saddle. You were hyped, and the whole bench was hyped. It happened so fast. You're just like, how does somebody even have that skill at his size to just cock it back, cram it with the left hand on Giannis, right? Like, first off, how fun is that when you get jazzed up? Like, I know you guys are professionals in the NBA, but people get fucking fired up. You like, it brings you back to high school
honestly,
basketball.
I was so fired up because freaking the highlight film that they put me on with the Paul George.
I know,
getting caught with all these push-offs.
A lot of push-offs. We'll get to that. We'll get to this.
I mean, it is what it is. Like, I can laugh about it, self-deprecating. Yeah, but I was like praying. I was praying that there were like other highlights in that game, and then Donovan dropped Andre Drummond. I was like,
thank God. Yeah.
He dropped him, and I was like, please go in, please go in, please go in, please go in.
You're just thinking about how House of Highlights is going to have other clips other than just yours.
Yeah. I talked to the ref at halftime. I was like, I thought that was a push-off. He was like, it was so close. I'm like, yeah, well, now I'm a human highlight, so thanks.
It's like the on the ball version of trying to block a dunk. Like Jared Allen tries to block every dunk, and sometimes he gets cramped. Like he gets one crammed on his head once in a while, and he just doesn't give a shit. He's just like whatever. Like he's gonna try to block shots. You are that person that competes. I'm tooting your horn a little bit, but it's true. You compete every second, so it's like you're gonna get hit off once in a while. That's like you're playing against the world's best
but
players.
Like Jared Allen dunks on people and then may get dunked on. I'm not crossing anybody up, so like it's a one-sided battle.
I would disagree because you've had a couple pump fake, left-hand drives from the right wing, and then a euro to your little floater, and it's been dirty. I've seen a couple of these hit-offs.
That's that 93 premium gas you're giving me right now. Okay.
Yeah,
no, but let's get on to hotter topics, man.
Okay, well,
there's been some teams that, obviously people projected to be, a lot better. Still early on in the season, I think people predicted the DeMar DeRozan, trade or sign, whatever you want to call it, in Sacramento would pan out a little better. Yes, it's still early. They had injuries. And also Minnesota, obviously that trade with your New York Knickerbockers, the Knicks were struggling early on, but they've seemed to kind of figure it out. Talk to me on why you think, the Minnesota Timberwolves are struggling.
Dude, it's hard to say because I think probably the person I am the biggest fanboy of in the NBA is Ant Edwards. I think he is like entertaining, charisma, a fucking dog. Like he is an old school type competitor in the age of like not those. So that's why all the old dudes love him, and I love him too. Like I think he's fucking awesome. But he had a quote the other night that seems true. And granted, I haven't watched a ton of games, but I've probably watched 4 of their games this year. He's like, we don't have an identity on offense. We know that I'm going to take a bunch of shots, and we know Julius Randle's going to take a bunch of shots. That's about it. And you kind of see that a little bit. You see an offense that is just like maybe lacking some continuity, maybe some like ball movement or identity, and like it's kind of hurting them, dude. What are they? They're now like, I don't know their record. I guess they're 14-13, so they're in the 10th seed right now. Obviously, it's very early. Like when you played them, did you kind of see? You played them last year and you played them this year. What are some things that you saw that was like a difference?
We haven't played Minnesota yet.
Oh, you didn't play them yet this year. Well, you've seen them play.
But I'll tell you this. I just think they need like shooting. Like if we're being completely honest, like if you break down what the game is, and I know people are shitting on the NBA, they were shooting too many threes. Well, at this point, if you have guys that tick or get off by playing ISO basketball, you need to have space around them. Like it's hard for guys that ISO to not have space around and trying to make something happen. So like Julius Randle is an ISO player. Anthony Edwards is an ISO player. Mike Conley can shoot it. McDaniel can shoot a little bit. And then you have Rudy in the middle. So you really need to have shooting around there just to add some spacing. It's kind of a thing in the NBA where, they're talking about, we're shooting too many threes. But if you want to survive as a role player, if you can't score at an ISO level that these max players can, which there's very few of them, I hope people actually know, sure, there's max players on each team, but if you put certain people on different teams, like their roles change. And, when you can have spacing and shooting and guys that know how to play, it creates space for the 1 to 2 to 3 guys max that you have on a team that are ISO guys. And yes, I know people are saying the 3 is kind of changing the game and in a bad way, but at the same time, shooting allows these ISO players to have the space that they can do what they can do.
It's about balance, right? Like at any level of basketball, you need to have balance on the floor. If you're going to have people that like to get in the middle of the lane, whether that's a big man or someone that likes to drive to the hoop, you need to have people that can shoot the ball, like you're saying, for spacing. And it seems like Cat last year, like if you take out Cat and put in Julius, you have somebody in Cat that can spread the floor. So he's a threat from 3 more so than Julius Randle is, right? On top of that, like as a Knick the last few years, the ball tends to like stop a little bit in Julius's hands. Not this necessarily a bad thing.
Well, these are ISO players.
They're ISO players. So the ball gets a little sticky, and if you have 2 of those players where that's happening, things can get rough sometimes, right? Which is why you see like when Julius went out last year for the Knicks, it seemed like the Knicks offense kind of flowed a little better because you had one player who's the ball stuck in his hands in Brunson. The other thing is, like, I don't know what's up with Dante DiVincenzo. I mean, the guy was averaging like 15 points a game last year. He's averaging like under 10 now. I don't know if they're underutilizing him or what's happening with him, but that's like a dude that can normally go off for 25 on any given night. And you haven't really seen him step into that role yet in Minnesota. So you hope, because I like all those dudes, like especially the former Knicks. I mean, my Nick shit, you yell at me already.
We see you, clown.
Listen, I will say this. This is one thing I will say. I've probably watched 4 Knicks games. I've watched every second of every game except for
because it's part of your job.
No, because I'm rooting for you.
You're getting paid to do this now.
Now I am. I think I'm still paying. Honestly, I don't think we've broken even yet. I think I'm still paying.
We don't need to get into that. We enjoy what we do. It's not about the money, but.
Yeah.
Kind of the same thing with the Sacramento.
Yeah, the Kings.
Sacramento Kings, right? Domantas Sabonis is someone that kind of needs space to facilitate, and him and DeMar DeRozan are probably still trying to figure it out, along with De'Aaron Fox, right? You have 3 ISO guys. That it takes time. Like people don't understand. Like when you go from a situation where you're like, okay, I know where my spots are coming. I can do X, Y, and Z. I know where I'm going to get the ball. I know where my shots are coming from. To then being thrown into, a system where you're like, okay, these 2 guys are the, ISO dominant guys. How do I fit in? So it's still early, right? Teams are going to make trades. Teams are going to kind of figure it out. But I'm biased, obviously, because I'm a shooter. But at the end of the day, I think shooting helps a lot of things where you can have at least 3 ISO guys out there and have guys that can space the floor for you.
Yeah, it does. And like, you almost think that, like once in a while, one player will leave a team like this and it'll be like theoretically their 5th or 6th best player. And it'll have like huge effects on these teams. Like Denver, I think, is like a worse team without Bruce Brown. I think when Bruce Brown left, it was like, that's a big piece. Like he's a big time shooter.
I think you mean also like KCP, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope.
100% as well. Yes, of course, obviously. But those are 2 people. Either way, those are 2 people that it's like you lose those pieces, and that's like a part of your offense that's like a bigger part than people think. And I think like the Kings. Like you say, like you have De'Aaron Fox who's playing out of his mind, but like that was a team that was 3rd in the West 2 years ago. And now it's like these last 2 years, they've kind of floated towards the middle and the bottom of like the West. And you're just like, what the fuck is going on over there, And you don't want it to be like, oh, same old Kings, but it's like, they're kind of like the Jets of the NBA,
Wow, that's crazy. I'm not going down there, but the Jets haven't been good since Vinny Testaverde.
And you're as a Patriots guy, you've seen the worst of the Jets. By the way, a quick break. I do want to ask you, do you wear beanies ever?
Yeah, I wear some. Let the flow hang out a little bit.
So you'll wear it on top and let the flow come out of the front?
Yeah. Whoa, put that down.
I know,
dude.
bro. My shit is pushed back, right? I can't
terrible.
figure out how to wear a beanie, but it's
just
so
for men, Joe.
Joe's wearing a beanie and it looks good. The producer here looks good in a beanie. I don't. I got to figure out how to wear a beanie. I got to figure out which beanie to wear. So I just want to make that clear. If you have any guidance, maybe The Point can send me some beanies. And
yeah, there we go. Shout out The Point. My guys down there at The Point, they're doing big things. I think they got a spot down in the South Shore, but the one I go to is in South Boston. They've been hooking me up with swag for a long time now.
And now they're trying
if you're in the local area in Boston, stop by The Point. They'll get you right.
Now they're trying to get on with our boy Sam Hauser, but it's cool because we like Sam Hauser.
Yeah,
okay,
shout out Sammy, man.
Sam's the best, and another podcast guy. So maybe we'll join forces.
Yeah, he's a competitor now.
Yeah, that's okay. I like Sam Hauser. Okay, speaking of friends of the show, I'd like to give a heartfelt, because I know what he's going through, a heartfelt get well soon to Mo Wagner. Left ACL, out for the season. That team is getting decimated with injuries, somehow still winning. Cole Anthony goes off for 35 points the other night in a win, in a comeback win. But God, what a tough thing. What's your advice for dudes that have to go through?
Yeah, I mean that's
things?
tough. I mean we love Mo. We love you here at the show. I love you as a friend, and I hope nothing but a speedy recovery for you, and sending positive vibes, and just know that we're cheering on for you, and we're cheering you on. and hopefully this recovery is a quick one.
As somebody who is an athlete, as somebody who is going through ACL recovery, it's a little bit of a long road, and it's a mental battle. And so I'm hoping, knowing him for the short amount of time that I did know him, which is like 30 minutes in a podcast.
And the fact that your biggest physical activity is going out to the grill and like making steaks on medium for your family, where he just has to run around and chase the best athletes in the world. Yeah, no, you guys are definitely relatable.
First off, that I was in a gym with Coach Joe. I was putting in work. I put it up on my Instagram. I was getting that work in. I'm getting stronger every day. I'm going to come back as a beast, and I'm going to average 20, 26 a game. Anyway, Mo Vogs.
Still talk about high school basketball.
You'd be talking about high school basketball too if you weren't in the NBA.
Yeah.
But you are, so you don't. Okay. I want to ask you a question. If you had to set an over-under for a amount of time that it's going to take for Victor Wembanyama to get a quadruple double. We all know what a quadruple double is.
Come on.
When is it going to be? You think it's going to happen this year, next year, and the next 3 years? Set an over-under.
In the next 2 years.
So you think by the end of
this year and another year.
And another year he will definitely have one.
Yes.
Okay.
10 blocks. And he's just running out there. Like
he blocks literally everything. And sometimes it's just it's such a
like a
fake
praying
block.
mantis, and we're all like ants out here, and he just like whap, whap, whap. When I saw that he had 40 and 10 blocks, I'm like these metrics that the NBA uses, how is this guy not astronomically just above everybody? He's preventing shots, and then he's scoring every time he touches it.
I wonder what there's got to be an advanced stat, but it's why would anybody shoot the ball when they're in the paint on Victor Wembanyama? It's an automatic block. There's post players that literally try to drop step and dude, even if you fake him out, he's 7 feet above you. You're screwed either way.
Yeah, it's I bit on that fake. Oh, too bad.
Here's my other arm way over here.
He's I bit on this fake. God's gift.
Sometimes he it's not even a slam. It's he blocked that dunk the other night, last night, which was pretty sick. But then there's times where it's just it's just a regular layup, and he just barely gets a finger on it, and it's just it's not a whop into the stands. He just gets a finger on it, and it's damn, that's a block. He does that 4 times. I think he's gonna get a quadruple double by the end of this year. I think he will have it by the end of this year. He's gonna have a quadruple double.
That's tough.
Do you know who the last person to have a quadruple double was?
Was it the Dream?
Nope.
Manu Bol?
Nope.
Dikembe Mutombo?
Nope. I'm double checking this right now, but I'm pretty certain I know who it is. Yeah, I was right.
Who?
I'll give you a hint. It's the same team that Victor Wembanyama plays for. You're Googling ass right now.
Oh, wait. Tim Duncan?
No, David Robinson.
David Robinson.
Quadruple double. The Admiral.
Wow. Great things happen in the state of Texas.
Okay, one thing I do want to talk about that a lot of people are talking about, we touched on it a little bit. A lot of talk, especially from these older, by the way, white dudes that are older than 40 are almost the worst people to talk basketball with because they all hate LeBron. They all think the game is ruined. They all think that, Larry Bird would score 70 points a game in today's NBA. They're just, I don't even think they're basketball fans. They all have the same exact opinions. And they're bombarding me with, the NBA's ratings are down, which they are. The NBA's ratings are down. Can you give your input as a current NBA player as to like why you think that the NBA ratings are down at this point?
Yeah, I mean, from the feedback that I've gotten from these other people, is like a lot of people just don't really care to hear about the outside world problems or political stuff when they want to watch sports. I think a lot of people use sports to break away from politics or world issues.
You sick? You got the flu or what?
Yeah, no. So I don't think they really care to, they're going to watch if this stuff is being put forth in front of their face. I think with every other media outlet, they see what's either wrong with the world or the problems, and people use sports as an outlet to kind of like break away from all that stuff and have happiness. And I guess if you have too much of that, enough people are like, I'm done with that. I don't want to watch that. So I want to say the product is still good. I mean, guys go out and play hard every night. But I'm sure people think of it as like, these guys can't tell me to come to my job and tell me how to change a light bulb or fix a swing set or, convict a felon as a lawyer or be a doctor and,
Right.
So why are they talking about things that they aren't professionals? Because they would never listen to me on like, hey, you should work on your one dribble jump shot.
Yeah. I do think that when anytime you bring politics into something, you're going to alienate half of the country. That's just kind of like what happens, right? But and like I do think the product, it has changed a little bit, but people think like the 3-point line is like the death of basketball. And it's like, it's hard as a basketball purist to be like, to like say just because they're shooting 50, some teams are shooting 55 shots, that's the reason basketball's, dead or doesn't have the best ratings. I think part of it is there are like 8 teams in the NBA that are atrocious to watch. That it's so hard. There are some really bad teams, dude. And as somebody that watches the NBA almost like, nightly, and most of the time it's watching the Cavaliers, who like are a team that moves the basketball. I don't see the NBA as like a bad product. I see a great product every night. But if I were watching the Washington Wizards, I mean, it's hard to watch, dude. It's really, really hard to watch.
You're like, oh no, he ain't about to do that. No.
You're like, oh,
did he really just do that?
You're like, my God. And like, I don't want to like pile on to like.
But they have like new like, how do I say it? Like front office. So they're trying to like somewhat develop a culture. Like this is their first year on the turnaround. So
I get it. And I'm not trying to like pile on to people like, but Jordan Poole is like, he's on an island out there. Like he's a great player, but it's like, it must be so hard to be like, all right, I just got paid. I'm getting sent somewhere where careers die. How am I supposed to be the person that's going to try to turn this whole thing around? And I don't know if that's fair for like to put on one person. And so what happens is he's just like, all right, well, I'm going to shoot my fucking shots. And like, I don't know how much of a leader, behind closed doors, how great of a leader he may or may not be. I guess I shouldn't speak on that, but
yeah, too much is given, much is expected, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if I said that right, but yeah. I probably butchered
heavy
it.
Is the crown.
Anyway.
Heavy is the crown, whatever. But yeah, I guess my point was there are some teams in the NBA where it's like, this is horrible to watch, and I wouldn't want to watch this at all. Like, we all know football rules, right? Football is king in this country. I'm a Bears fan. They're so bad. I'm done watching the Bears. I do not watch them. So if there's like 7 of those teams in the NBA where nobody wants to watch them and they're selling $5 tickets, then that is an issue. The bottom half of the league can be bad. Am I off on that?
We gotta make the playoffs 16 teams each side.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what And then
Or
the
15,
the other
sorry.
thing is like you put on a college basketball game. Like I watched a Michigan State game yesterday. It's like if you know basketball, like, all right, if I turn on a Izzo game, if I turn on a Hurley game, if I turn on a like even Calipari game or a Duke game, I'm going to see good basketball. And then you put on Michigan State, you're like, oh, wow, this is like great basketball. Dudes are like diving on the floor. It's 40 minutes of intense
Kevin,
basketball.
They fucking play 30 games. We've already played 30 games and we're 2 months into the season. Like, you're expecting to like see these guys go balls to the wall. Like we're playing Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Like, shut up.
Why are you getting so angry that a college game is intense?
That a college game is so much more intense. Yeah, okay, it's real intense. You travel friggin' 4 hours down the road by bus, and then you have to play hard as hell, and then, like, come on.
And then you have schoolwork?
We play 82 games. Yeah, and guess what? We travel through the night, get into places at 2 a.m., and have to play the next day.
Nobody is saying that you're not playing intense. I've actually said that you've put out a great product. What I'm saying is college basketball.
No, you're trying to like You're saying college basketball is better. Okay, well, nobody wants to watch when Calipari
let me tell you what just happened.
Michigan State is blowing out Florida A&M or Mississippi Valley State. Like,
let me tell you what just happened right now for you, the listeners out there. This is the equivalent of when my wife and I are watching TV, and I say,
"Shut up!
Oh, that person's that lady's a good-looking lady," and then my wife is like, "Are you serious? You're gonna call that chick hot?" And it's like, just because she's good-looking doesn't mean that you're not the best-looking. So, George, just because I said college was good doesn't mean the NBA isn't the best. It just means the college is really good.
No, you're just saying it's better to watch.
By the way, I'm going to go to 4 or 5 high school basketball games this week. So I like all basketball. And are you only watching the NBA? Is that what you're telling me?
No, you go to high school basketball games because you're weird.
Say it. Say what you really want to say.
No, I was kidding. But honestly, if you're going to high school basketball games with that cane, like, it's a little creepy.
I'm not on the cane. I'm off the cane. By the way, I am known in New Jersey basketball circles and New York City basketball circles. I'm not known as a content creator. I'm known as a good coach. Okay, this is what you failed to
in
understand.
New Jersey? Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to reach out to everybody from Paterson, New Jersey, which is also known as one of the meccas of Jersey basketball.
Please.
And they won't know who you are. Oh.
They'll
Who
say,
that white dude?
They'll be like, the guy from Middletown North? Oh, yeah, I know him. Ask the guy from Ramapo High School, 3 straight state championships. His name's Nick Veer. He played at Vermont. You probably played against him back in the day.
Yeah, I'm talking about guys like J.R. Smith. Like, you're talking about Vermont. I'm talking about guys that were McDonald's All-Americans and went to have like 15-year-plus NBA careers.
Yeah, I didn't coach a lot of those. I didn't coach a lot of those. But
moving on, can we talk about how the Knicks players got the ball boys of the New Orleans Pelicans a technical last night?
Yeah, what did you like? Can you explain? Explain what
that is a thing when they're trying to see if there should be a review.
Yeah.
So that they can see the replay, like the coaches can see before they call a timeout. Sometimes you do send the ball boy out there, like, "Hey man, go get that. Hey, go get that sweat spot right over there, right in the middle of the paint. The middle. You see that sweat spot in the middle of the paint?
Is that what happened? Explain to the listener like what happened on that play.
Well, I don't know if specifically on that play, but it's happened before where, if you're sitting on the bench and they're trying to see before the ball gets handed back in and you can't challenge a call, you tell the ball boy, like, "Hey, go
wipe something down, delay."
Go protect. There's sweat. Hold up. There's sweat in the middle of the court. And, like, who can really look and be like, but it just takes people's attention away so that, you can look at the monitor on your bench and see, if
you can
call in your favor,
yeah, and so it takes the like 10-second delay away from it. Jalen Brunson called it like right away. He's like, that's attack, you can't send him out there, and it seemed like the ref kind of listened to him. It kind of reminded me of
Star calls.
Kind of reminded me of did you see the Chargers Jim Harbaugh thing where they kicked I forget who the Chargers were playing, but the team they were playing punted the ball.
Great story.
They punted the ball from like the 1 yard line. And if you fair catch a punt, you get a free kick for a field goal wherever that is. But you line it up like a kickoff. So basically they fair caught the ball at on the opposing team's 44-yard line. And so they opted, it's this weird rule in football that not a lot of people know about. They opted to kick a field goal. It's a free kick. And you line up like it's a kickoff from there. So like in the middle of the game, you line up like it's a kickoff and you just kick a field goal and they got 3 points. It was like pivotal in the game. And it's like,
let's go. Play the clip.
Yeah.
Hey,
right
play
here.
the clip.
And afterwards, he's talking about it. He's like, that's one of my favorite rules of football. He's like, I love that rule. I've been trying to get one of those for years. And he's just like, he's
like one of those dudes that just like read the playbook like it was the Bible or something.
Yeah.
Like, that's interesting. I wonder if anybody knew about that. They're like running it up and dudes who there's dudes who play that are just good but don't know the rules. They're like, man, this is probably the craziest shit I've ever seen.
It's like, there's no way you can do that. There's no way. I bet the kicker didn't even know that you could do that. Like, kickers are from Australia. They don't know what the fuck the rules.
Yeah, they're like, I played soccer, dude. What is this?
So it's funny. My boy reposted it, and then he's like, a lot of people have been hitting me up about this since this happened. His next story was like, because in 2001, I did this to win a state championship. And in Pennsylvania, in like Northeast Pennsylvania, this kid.
In high school, huh?
In high school.
This is high school?
He caught a fair catch.
This is high school? Yeah.
This strong high school. He's such a strong, good-looking kid. Catches a fair catch and then boots a field goal to win like a state championship. And it's like, it went down in history. It was all over the news. It was on ESPN.
Let's go. Cool. I love that. That's great moments.
Okay. I wanted to ask you a question that's just like an inside the NBA, a point of view we would never get without talking to a current NBA player. There are teams, obviously, that you dislike. Like, there are teams that you just like, when you play, like, I saw you talking shit to the Bucks early on. So I don't know if they're one of them or not. I'm sure the Nets are one of the teams you really don't enjoy the people. So I wanted to see if you could give me like two teams that there is just not a lot of love lost there. There's just like, you guys are not cool.
No, I mean, I don't think there's cool, anything like specific. Mixy. I would say the Knicks because you like them, and I got to work with you, so that pisses me off. Yeah, what do you mean as a cop out? Like, that's how I feel. You're not listening to my feelings. Yeah, talk about that in your wife conversation.
So you go to the Knicks, and you got a little battery in your back when you play the Knicks.
Yeah, I do got a little battery in my back because that one time that I played on Christmas and we won. And I made a comment about never seeing a drop coverage before. Like, every Knicks social media person was like, Niang, you bum. But the next game, like, I didn't play well. And they're like, see, it was a fluke. I'm like, oh, my God, man. Like,
is this on Twitter?
Pipe down. Yeah. And then I realized if you delete Twitter, you don't have to see any of that.
Did you do that?
But no, there was obviously, Doc Rivers coached me with the Bucks, and there was a couple guys that were behind the bench that, obviously, you're chirping, friendly banter back and forth. Same things with the Sixers the night before. It's just friendly jaw and back and forth, but when you're in between those lines, like, your competitive juices make it seem like you're, like, real dial. But hatred, I think you save that for the playoffs.
So basically, it's more just like situational. It's like, this is about to get serious because it's the fucking playoffs. There's not really a team where you like circle.
Yeah, there's no like friends where like in the playoffs, like I've had friends that like if we were in the regular season, we'd go get dinner. But if it's the playoffs, like I'm not talking to you, I'm not texting you, I'm not getting dinner with you after. Like I don't. There's no talking.
It's clip.
This is
See, I love that. I love that about you, bro. Now, is everybody like that, or are you just one of them ones?
I don't. In the playoffs, I don't pay attention to what everybody else is like. I know, you got to be locked in on what the hell you got to do, and
And that's
Playoffs
that.
is money time. You got to be dialed in.
Now, on the flip side, are there any teams that you enjoy the banter? You're kind of jazzed up because you're like, maybe you have friends on that team. You're like, all right, this is going to be fun. Like, we'll talk shit, but it's all good fun. And you like enjoy the competitive spirit.
You know, there was one time where we played the Spurs, and I think I was like 0 for 11, and something had happened where like they committed a foul where the opposing coach could pick someone from our bench to shoot it. And I think Greg Popovich had seen I like had a horrible game. He was like, "Yeah, you go ahead and can shoot it." And I was like, "I love you, Pop, man." And he was just like, it was like almost to be like messing with me, like, "Yeah, you need the help. Go over there and make 2 free throws." So I remember like going in the game, like I took my warm-ups off, went in the game, shot him, came back to the bench. I was like, "Thanks, Pop."
Like, fuck this guy. But deep down, you're kind of like laughing. You're like, that is kind of funny.
No, it's just he's old school. I love that. Speaking of that, I hope he's doing he's doing well.
Yeah, prayers to him.
But no, we got some big things coming up. We got some good Christmas Day games coming up with the NBA. Obviously, they sprinkled an NFL game up in there, but I'm excited for whether if it's the trades, what's going to happen. NBA is in a good place. I hope people can continue to stick with it and take it day by day.
Speaking of the trades, there was an article I was telling you about on like Apple something. My friend sent it to me, and like over the summer they talked about trade. Like you and I spoke about like trade rumors. They're like, is George Niang gonna get? Is George Niang like? Here's a piece that could move from the Cavaliers, and now the narrative is so different around you. Like, I told you Donovan said some really, really nice things about you. Like, he is doing so much for our team. Like, stuff that it's not all about, like, the points you put up, and you're scoring at a high clip. It's the little things that you're doing for the team, behind closed doors, but also, like, competing on the defensive end, rebounding, cutting backdoor, getting shit going to the hoop. And you're also a knockdown shooter from the outside, which everybody has known about you. So, like, what's like? Is it weird when you see stuff like that? Like,
no,
what's the conversation?
I
like, do you actually say something to Donovan? You're like, hey, man, like, I couldn't imagine being on a high school team and be like, hey, man, thanks for saying that about me, bro. I appreciate it. Like, you're not having that conversation in the locker room, are you?
No, this is like when you're the regular guy that thinks these conversations go on. No, those don't happen. It's like show up and do your job, and I can't really focus on those things. Obviously, you'll have weak moments, or you'll be like, "Damn, is that how they really feel about me?" But anybody can write anything, just like any of us can have a podcast and say whatever we want.
Yeah.
So I don't really pay too much attention to that. I just have to go in and be the best me. Let me tell you this. If you can be so good that they can't, get rid of you, then that's all you can focus on. So focus on that because you can actually control that. Everything else,
you can't.
That hoping, what is it? Wish in one hand, hope. What is it? Shit in one hand.
We got to get you a book of sayings because that's the second one.
Anyway, with that being said.
Yeah, well, I just want to say it's been fun watching this new, and we say it every week, but it's been fun watching this new. It's not new, but it's a revitalized version of you out there. Like you're having fun, and it's fun to watch. So I'm sure people in the building are like, yeah, like Theo texted me the other day. He's like, this motherfucker trying to get extended. I'm like, yes, sir, he is. It's cool as your friend to see you like balling out the way you've been doing it. So.
Yeah, I appreciate that. But with that being said, thank you all for joining us on the Bench Seat Podcast. This was episode 2.
Shouts to our sponsor.
We did it virtually. Yes, MyBookie. Thank you for being involved with us. And like Kevin said, it's the 12 days of giving.
Hop on.
And
MyBookie. Get on if you're a new customer.
They'll match it up to 50%. That's all I can say for you guys.
And use Grill Guy, promo code Grill Guy. And follow Georgie. Follow myself at Grill Guy. Follow the Cavs. I'm pumped to see. Are you playing on Christmas? I forget.
No. I'll be with my family, so it'll be good. We play the 27th against Denver, so everybody tune in.
Oh, yeah, then you got the West Coast trip. So good. Enjoy your Christmas, Georgie. I have a present for you that I was planning on giving you today. But I'll just send it in the mail. I got you a book.
All right.
Do you know what Stoicism is?
Yeah, Stoicism. Ryan
Ryan Holiday. Yeah.
Yeah, Ryan Holiday.
I got your Ryan Holiday book.
I'm close with him. He's great. He sent one to me already. Ketchup mustard.
Damn. All right. Okay, guys. Thank you for watching.
Later, guys.